Winn-Dixie customers can show their appreciation by donating or rounding up their grocery bill. All donations will benefit Folds of Honor and its mission to provide educational scholarships for families of America's fallen and disabled heroes. Visit your local Winn-Dixie store to help military families today.
It's fishing time, old school style. The Daly's Old School Kingfish Shootout, presented by Yellowfin, is June 10th in St. Augustine. Fishing fun for everyone. Big boats, small boats, and just a $250 entry fee if you register early by May 31st. The catch for the Old School Kingfish Shootout, limited boundaries. Fernandina Beach to Daytona Beach, but only 3 miles offshore. OldSchoolKingfish.com to register and do it early by May 31st. Get your chance to win over $200,000 in prizes. Fishing fun for everyone, June 10th in St. Augustine. OldSchoolKingfish.com.
All offers are with approved credit and not in conjunction. See dealer for complete details.
Get the pickup you'll love driving and enjoy the best savings of the year at Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Bay Meadows. It's Ram season. The incentives are out, and this is a great time to buy. If you're looking for a great truck at a great price, save up to 10% and more on a brand new 2023 Bighorn or Laramie.
Wait, there's more.
Every new Ram on the lot is priced to save you up to $14,000 off MSRP. We get more because we sell more, and we've got a lot. Enjoy 2.9% financing for 72 months. That alone is valued at over $12,000. Our lenders are ready and waiting to make you a new car loan today. Bring us your old pickup in trade, and we'll pay more for it,
Even if you don't buy from us.
See our inventory at jaxcjdr.com. Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, I-295 and Bay Meadows.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
Every weeknight at 6 p.m., it's Overtime with Kurtz in Middleton, and check us out right here on ESPN 690.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The Denver Nuggets and Miami Heat have one more day to prep for Game 1 of the NBA Finals. And our Monica McNutt wonders if the Heat can somehow slow down the production of Nikola Jokic.
I have this theory that if you keep him off the glass, then you can disrupt what he's able to do both as a scorer and a facilitator. Now, keeping Jokic off the glass is far easier said than done.
Monica McNutt, the finals tip off in Denver tomorrow night. Coverage starts at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ABC TV, and the ESPN app. Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, Adem Bona, withdraws his name from the NBA draft. He'll stay at UCLA for his sophomore season. UConn senior point guard Tristan Newton also withdraws. He'll play a second season for the national champs. Newton had 19 points and 10 rebounds in the NCAA title game against San Diego State. And ESPN's Jonathan Givony reports Colorado junior Tristan Da Silva withdraws from the draft. He'll stay with the Buffaloes for another season.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jacks presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year 2 pom-pom people.
Kasey Kurtz.
Yo! Well, what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship.
Get him! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Hit him! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom!
This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio, ESPN 690.
Hey, what's happening? We already made it to Wednesday here on Brent and Friends on ESPN 690 and made our way this morning all the way, almost across the state to Bowling Green, Florida. Have you been before? If you haven't been before, there's one reason to go.
Place didn't exist until you told me about it yesterday.
I know. Place didn't exist until they built Streamsong Resort in a lot of people's minds. Little golf getaway for the guys in the Martineau family. And we talk about one of our big supporters of our Dream 18 over the years as well. So we'll talk a little Stream Song Resort. If you've never been, it's not just golf, by the way, fishing and other things here at this wonderful venue. And always a kind host when I hit the road and have to do the show over here. So we'll visit some of the folks from here as well, and they've got a lot of cool things going on, and it's right in our backyard in the state of Florida. Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz. We got a little afternoon baseball going on. Can the Atlanta Braves beat the Oakland Athletics? Oh, maybe not. That's good news to your ears, Aaron.
Yeah, sure.
You like that.
I do like when the Braves
can't beat
lose.
anybody, but they could beat the Atlanta Braves.
That's true.
That's odd.
Is this they're winning?
No, they've won 2 in a row, though.
Really?
They'll play this afternoon, yeah.
Sounds like I got to hit flip for a second. Hold on. Let me get some action going.
You've got 35 minutes to get it in.
Dude, you could have became the king of flip coins if you would have bet back-to-back nights on Oakland money line.
Yes, you would have.
I would have made a ton of flip.
I can only imagine what it was.
Sure.
Let's find out what it is, just for the heck of it.
What do you think is bigger, the total attendance or the money line number?
Yeah, that may be the money line number. We might talk about the A's a little bit, and you can run the bases, apparently, if you want to jump on the field.
For free. Well,
yeah,
not for free.
No
You got to pay
problem.
for a ticket.
And you don't have to wait till after the game.
That's right.
So Atlanta, by the way, minus 235 today to beat the A's.
All right.
That's it. We'll see. A's. I mean, Atlanta's one of the best teams in the league. And, you know, a guy we don't talk about enough, and I thought about we should talk about him a little bit here on the show at some point, is Ronald Acuna Jr. I mean, just unbelievable. MVP so far.
He's all right.
He's all right.
He's all right.
So we'll talk about him a little bit later on, maybe, with some baseball chatter. And always got the football talk, of course. The Jaguars continue OTAs. Only the one was open to the media yesterday. And so we'll hear from Christian Kirk a little bit, Brandon McManus. We still have a lot of kicker conversation. In fact, even out here, people asking about, hey, Brandon McManus.
Wow.
He's coming over to the Jags. It's like the Jags are on people's radar. Isn't that a cool thing?
Hot topic.
Like, usually you go somewhere else, right? You get outside the city limits of Jacksonville, and you have to explain, oh, hey, how are the Jags going to be, or who the Jags have. Not the case right now. Like, everybody knows the roster. Everybody knows the players. Everybody seems to know the acquisitions. And I'm not telling you they can name the too deep on the depth chart, but it's a unique thing when you can name, hey, the head coach, the quarterback, the receivers, the weapons. Like, and by the way, we expect them to be good, not just here in Jacksonville, but anywhere else. That is the common theme and common thread. And, again, very few times in the last 15 to 20 years has that been the case for the Jacksonville Jaguars guys.
It's pretty impressive when you think about it, that it went for so long with such non-notoriety. And then the quick turnaround was what? Over the course of half a season, essentially.
In 2 months.
Yeah.
That's it.
You're trying to tell me, no cap, that somebody asked you about Brandon McManus?
No, really, they did. They did. We're playing with Josh, and he's an Orlando guy, so he's not too far from it.
Still,
but
I'd take it.
Yeah, I mean, he went to Florida State, and so he knew about McManus. Obviously, football fan. I'm assuming most everybody plays fantasy football and stuff, Kasey, so they know the best kickers in the game.
That's fair.
But he even knew Riley Patterson had been cut.
This guy's a diehard.
I don't know. I got to get him a Jags hat. He's got a good golf swing too. But I just think that part's interesting. You know, I mean, you go to whatever event you're at, or maybe you go visit family out of town or whatever it is, and you kind of got to give stuff about the Jags. Just not the case. I mean, they are people know the NFL really well now anyway, because I just mentioned fantasy football. But to our conversation yesterday, the Jags have an offense that you don't have to make up how good they might be. I mean, it is legit. It's on paper. It screams that they're going to have a pretty good offense. And now we wonder about how good. I mean, we started the conversation yesterday. If you name the top offenses in the NFL, can the Jags join the ranks? Well, if they put up some big numbers early in the season with the Minnesotas, with the Chiefs, with the Dolphins, with the Bills potentially, you know, you name it. I mean, there are teams that certainly have them, the Eagles too. The Jags are going to be in that conversation. And they think they can be in that conversation. And that's the wild part about this, probably something we haven't talked enough about. We think the defense, you know, might get a little better, needs to get a little better. Here's the thing about the Jags. They feel like they're going to outscore everybody. So I'm not telling you they don't care about the defense, but they certainly feel like they are now a little bit in the conversation of the way the Chiefs have been, fellas, where, hey, we're going to go put 34 on the board and you see if you can catch us.
Do you feel that way? not you necessarily, Brent, as a journalist, but the Jags fan base, do you feel that way? Like, I'm not sure I feel that way as someone who watches the team. I think this is going to be a fast offense. But to come out week one of the gates, 30-plus, when you were kind of struggling to hit mid-20s last year, maybe even low 20s in some games?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they want to do.
Yeah,
I mean, you'd
like to see it.
That's where the league has gone. I mean, think about this. Kasey, over the years talking Jags, looking at the Jags, or you look at some other teams right now that really can't score. Maybe it's Houston because of the situation they're in. Tennessee could not score last year. You know how many games the Tennessee Titans had where they were under like 17 points or 20 points? They couldn't do it. Well, the Jags for a long time, as we've been making this shift in the NFL, let's just say the early part of the last decade, 2010, 11, 12, Brady's scoring at will. It probably came on the later part of the 2000s, really, right? The Randy Moss stuff and everything. But the rules start to change. The quarterback play is really good. The haves and have-nots, there's a separator. And now you fast forward to the last handful of years, and the elite team has been the Kansas City Chiefs. We're like, defense, who cares? Let's just go score. Now you have teams like the Philadelphia Eagles, where it's like, okay, let's do both and be dominant in both. And defense still matters. We all know that. But the Jags have not been in that conversation. I mean, the Jags got a little bit in the conversation because they picked Trevor Lawrence. And so when Trevor Lawrence came on board, you're like, okay, now we can play. Like, now we can play the game that they call NFL offense. And then they got Doug Peterson. And then what we saw this thing materialize, and I think what's worth saying, and we said this a bunch last year, Kasey, even in the 2-6 start, you could see the Jags were doing some things. It wasn't good enough for everybody because the results weren't wins. But the Jags were doing more than they had done in previous years. And if they take this next step, well, the next step is 28, 30, 32, 34, 37 points, Kasey Kurtz.
Yeah, I think if I had to decide between the two, will the defense be better or will they score 30-plus points on a regularity? I think I'm going 30-plus points on a regularity.
Wow, that's good. That's good. I like that. Man, you are coming up with some good ideas lately. What is up with you?
Thanks, Brent.
How many of those bunt cakes did you eat over the
It's all bunt cake.
I had like a half, to be real with you. I didn't think this one would be received that well because, like, I'm pretty much telling you I don't think the defense is going to be better. But, hey, whatever works, guys. Whatever it takes.
I actually think it's way less likely that they score that much. I mean, if you look at some of the teams they scored less than last year, it's not like they had a bad offensive output or a bad offensive season. I believe they ranked 10th when you look at points per game. And the teams above them are the teams you would think would be at the top of the list, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Eagles, those teams. But you still have teams under them that underperformed, that at least pushed the rank down a little bit. And I'm looking at this Jaguars team going, I don't have too much reason to believe the offense takes a giant step forward in the way that I think the defense may take a giant step forward. That's not to say the offense won't get better. But, like, are we really expecting to see these guys reach another gear on the offense or just play better together?
I think another gear. Really, I think another gear. Here's the deal. Why would you have another gear? Okay, Ridley. Now you have explosive plays, more explosive plays. Keep in mind, the Jags offense, the first half of last year, what we were saying is it's all the dink and dunk stuff. It's behind the line of scrimmage. It's horizontal more than it is vertical. And, by the way, it was effective. Like, you could do some things there. You could move the ball. But then we're like, okay, when is it going to get down the field a little bit more? You got all this speed. You got guys that can move down the field, we think. Marvin Jones, Zay Jones. I mean, when are you going to utilize that? Well, the offense started to evolve a bit. There were more 25-yard plus plays. There were more efforts down the field. And I think the early stuff was a feel of the offense. And also, hey, Trevor, don't make mistakes. Well, then there began this trust in the offense, trust in each other, trust in Trevor's abilities to open it up a little bit more. And I think we saw that. Well, the evolution is now we're going to see more of that. There's more trust in Trevor. There's now another guy that can really get down the field, which opens everything else up. And you have options and a playbook, I think, that will continue to evolve under Doug Peterson. Did we see it all? Maybe. But we see it with different toys now and different options for Doug Peterson, and we know he's very good at capitalizing on that. So, yeah, Aaron, I think is another step. I mean, the Jags averaged almost a touchdown a game more last year.
Yeah.
Offensively. I mean, there was nowhere to go but up.
You're
but
right.
At the same time, a touchdown is a lot, like 7 points a game more. And they did it on the strength of their offense, really, not really a defense that was scoring a bunch for them.
Agree. It's the whole reason why I think it's the defense's turn to take that giant step. and the offense to just refine around those edges a little bit because they took the step. And I realize you're getting a whole Ridley this year that you didn't have last year, but it's not necessarily in a vacuum. You're not just adding a whole new 95 receptions and an additional 1,600 yards to Trevor's stat line. I mean, he's going to have to share those targets with other guys. It's not like we're going to create a ton more targets unless the offense has the ball way more, which would indicate that the defense took a giant step forward. You talk about stretching the field a lot, and I don't disagree with you. Ridley is going to help do that. But last year, the Jaguars had the 5th best wide receiver at open target percentage. 5th best, slotted right in between Cooper Kupp and guys like Jerry Jeudy, Brandon Ayuk, and Keenan Allen. That wide receiver was Zay Jones. And if we're back in that vacuum, I'd say outside of Ridley, not having to compete for target share with Marvin Jones will help Zay Jones in that respect and still allow this team to open up much like they were doing last year. Maybe they get a little better at it. Maybe Trevor has more confidence to take those shots earlier in the year instead of late in the year like we saw last year. Maybe Doug has more confidence to call that number or that play than he did at the beginning of last year. So do I think the offense will be improved? Yeah, I'm not saying they won't.
How different does the playbook look, guys? Like, what do you think? I mean, is it going to be an offense that looks a lot like last year? I mean, I thought we saw real offense in the NFL under Doug Peterson for the first time in Jacksonville in a very long time. I mean, even in 17, they were on the strength of the defense. They ran the football very well. Remember, 2017, they had the #1 rushing offense in the NFL. So that's what they were trying to do. They're trying to minimize Blake a little bit. And Bortles actually came through in real clutch times and delivered in the passing game. But that's not what they were trying to be. They are trying to now be an offensive-heavy passing team, score 30 a game team. But what does the playbook look like? And there's a lot of discussion about that. Like, how much has Trevor now impacted the playbook this offseason in year 2 of this offense? I mean, do we have a feel for that? How it could look?
Yeah, I don't see how we could. Doug traditionally keeps us all very close to the vest. And then not even in the preseason will we start to see some of that stuff, I don't think, until we get to the regular season. That being said, I can't imagine the playbook's going to completely turn over. You got the same guys in the coaching staff, the same players on the roster. I would bet you add a little more wrinkles to each of these plays. Maybe you see a little more 2 tight end sets now that you got a couple more offensive weapons in the tight end room. But I bet it's like 75 to 80% the same.
Kasey, what do you think? Does it look like it looked last year, or there's some, because of Ridley, because of the nuances and the relationships and the trust factor and knowing it a bit more, do we see something that maybe jumps out to be a little bit different?
I just think there's going to be more goofy stuff involved, more screens, more of that kind of stuff, because you can kind of add that stuff now that you understand. Like, I'm not saying they're going to go crazy with it, but I think that will be the evolution of it. What more can you do with trying to be sneaky on the field with the same players you got? So I think it will, for the most part, be the same, but I bet we'll see a trick play or 2 more per game.
That's interesting. In this whole conversation, and I want to get back to the playbook in a moment, but you just mentioned something that's fascinating to me, whether it's a trick play here or there. You know, there are times of the game where you do that, times where you don't, but one thing that you can get away with some of that stuff is, they even ring around the rosy in Kansas City. It's when you're just playing with a bunch of confidence that you think you're going to score, you know you're going to score, or you're already ahead. And that goes back to the defense conversation that you're talking about, Aaron. I think that's, my big word. I used to do this with Blake Bortles. Could he take a step? And the word was dictate. Well, it's the same thing with Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson in this offense. Does it dictate play, which we think it's going to be? It's the identity of the football team. So if you dictate play, well, then you're in the lead. And then your defense gets a chance to create even more opportunities. That's what the good teams do. Defense doesn't need to be great, but defense certainly has an advantage when you're in the lead and they can get after the other team, take some more risks on blitzes or whatever, boom or bust kind of plays. And then the trick plays, so opening up the playbook can maybe come into play. And that's just the swagger of an offense and a team, but I think it's led by your offense. Very hard to do that leading with your defense, and we saw that in 2017-18. The Jags were led by, early 2018, I should say, were led by their defense. This time around, it is going to be led by Doug Peterson, Trevor Lawrence, all these weapons on the offensive side. So we're talking about the playbook. Does Kansas City's offense look different year by year? Do we even know?
I mean, I do think it's evolved from the first time we saw them in the Super Bowl on this modern dynastic run that they're on.
I'd agree. I think they're still evolving, though.
Yeah.
They're like a Pokemon, bro. They're in like the second phase.
It's very much like a roster-driven playbook, is it not? Like you're going to have Kelce and Mahomes, and then everyone else kind of has to figure out where they fit in.
I agree with that.
I do think, but that's another wrinkle to this Jaguars team we may see this year where the playbook may not be different, but the offense might look a little different based on the fact that Trevor and these guys, the closeness they have after last season, when we start to see plays break down, we may see the second act of those plays that aren't necessarily scripted on paper, like a Kelce and Mahomes get to do.
Yeah.
Maybe you're seeing Kirk and Trevor do this now.
Well, that's it. See, that's a place that I think the Jags offense is going to evolve. I just don't know if we're going to talk about it every day on ESPN 690 because I don't know if we're going to see it. Like, we have to dig deeper into it and say and ask the guys about it, quite frankly. We have to be like, hey, are these nuances, these intricacies, are this nonverbal language, is it being spoken out on the field? I think we saw some of that. We identified some of that last year with Christian Kirk and Trevor Lawrence as the season went along. I think there's conversation, although I don't know if really hardcore illustration, of Evan Ingram getting to know the offense and the nuances of it and the intricacies of it a little bit more as the season played along, and that's why he got better, according to Doug Peterson. So I'm not sure that's going to jump out to us, but I agree with you that that certainly is part of it and some of the evolution. It just might be more of an invisible part of the evolution to us watching the games from afar. I think those are things they know more in the locker room and the meeting rooms and other things taking place. But, you know, I don't know where else the Chiefs' offense is going. To the playbook and the evolution part of it. I think it all revolves around Patrick Mahomes, so you just kind of feel like it does that. Now, Pacheco's an interesting part of their offense to me, where they've leaned on that a little bit more. They wanted to establish that run a little bit more last year, utilize it. You go up to Buffalo, that's certainly something that we think they need to do or tried to do a little bit more last year. So some of these offenses that have been good, I think they do continue to evolve. And I guess, you know, from that standpoint, the adjustment is not only adding players and adding experience and trust in the offense, but it's also adding the power game. This gets back to the draft. And Tank Bigsby and Brenton Strange and obviously Anton Harrison and beefing up the offensive line. And the notification, at least from the coaches, and Press Taylor and Doug Peterson have said it, that, hey, we need to be better on 3rd and 4th and short.
Not only that, but these are time of possession picks as well. I mean, these are picks that'll help you improve how long you're holding on to the ball.
And keep that defense off the field.
Yes.
And keep that defense more fresh.
But more so on the sidelines.
But any defense is better when they're on the sidelines.
That's right.
And Philadelphia's like, hey, I don't know about that, but okay, cool.
Look, if the defense never hits the field, they're pitching a shutout.
Bro, if they can figure out how to win without going on defense, that would be fantastic.
A quick check of the iCryo chat chamber. A little activity going on. Delphonic thinks McManus is coming out 12-plus on his own every game. Someone better call Ducky Betts if that's the case. He's going to take a bath on that one.
That's right. 1.5 kicks, McManus over every time.
Yeah, every time. Ian says the O was already 8 out of 10. The D was about 6 out of 10. Definitely higher potential for growth with the D. And then finally, Glenn, give Press Taylor some credit. If the offense goes 30-plus, hey, Glenn, the Chiefs led the league at 29-2. So if Press gets this team over 30 points a game, I think he's going to get a little more than credit. I think he might have a new job next year.
Yeah, he could have a new job. That's a good call. Listen, the Jags were bad in some statistical categories on defense. They really weren't that bad in a lot of offensive categories. I mean, they were really pretty good. They checked a lot of boxes. So can you take it to that next level? And I guess to the overall point, the defense has some room to get better in certain areas where they were like 28th, 29th in the league in some categories. And so there's certainly more room to get better. Figgy Small says, roster as of today, defense is an unknown. Offense will have to score 30-plus just to compete and try to win games. I don't know about that.
I fall more towards that.
I swear.
30-plus just to win games?
No, not even close.
Well, not when you're playing the AFC South or the NFC South, but when you have to play the real teams, yeah.
They were 9 wins with 23 points a game.
But, bro, they got to play the real teams now. They ain't winning with 23 against Kansas City, Cincinnati, Buffalo. Who else? San Francisco. They ain't winning those games with 23.
Yeah, well, at least I don't know if I agree with Figgy Smalls, but I do like his handle.
The notorious FIG.
Yeah,
let's go.
Absolutely, in the iCryo chat chamber. Brent and Friends on ESPN 690. We're live from Stream Song Resort. We'll talk more football. We talk a little golf. We talk a little baseball. We got it all coming up. And we got the Jumbo Shrimp at 5:50, and they've got a doubleheader tonight, and you can listen to it on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly sunny, warm, and humid today with a few widely scattered, mainly inland afternoon showers and a thunderstorm. Highs around 85, dropping to the mid to upper 60s tonight. And partly cloudy tomorrow. A few showers and thunderstorms that will shift inland through the afternoon. And a high of 83. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Join me today beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jack.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Proud to offer a huge selection of both lab-grown and natural diamonds at the lowest prices guaranteed.
Hi, this is Earl Ron. I'm the president of New South Window Solutions. What I'd like people to understand about our company is what's unique about us. We manufacture, we install, we guarantee. We go out of our way to make it easy.
Going on now. Save 35% off factory direct windows and doors. Visit newsouthwindow.com.
Victim of a slip and fall? It takes one phone call to take back control of your life. Anajar and Levine will fight to get you the compensation you deserve. Call me, Mark Anajar, for a free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
Main office, Jacksonville. As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
It's fishing time, old school style. The Dailies Old School Kingfish Shootout, presented by Yellowfin, is June 10th in St. Augustine. Fishing fun for everyone. Big boats, small boats, and just a $250 entry fee if you register early by May 31st. The catch for the Old School Kingfish Shootout, limited boundaries. Fernandina Beach to Daytona Beach, but only 3 miles offshore. OldSchoolKingfish.com to register and do it early by May 31st. Get your chance to win over $200,000 in prizes. Fishing fun for everyone, June 10th in St. Augustine. OldSchoolKingfish.com.
This time of year brings constant rain and those pesky storm-chasing roofers knocking on your door with scripted sales pitches. Jacksonville Wilson Roofing Company didn't become the first name in Jacksonville roofing with invasive sales tactics. Instead, they offer a low-pressure approach, free and transparent estimates, exceptional craftsmanship, and they get every job right the first time. That's why Jacksonville Wilson Roofing Company is the first name in Jacksonville roofing. Request a free estimate at JacksonWilsonRoofing.com. That's JacksonWilsonRoofing.com.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
On average, an artificial limb for a child starts at $5,000, and the first prosthetic for an adult can cost up to $50,000, making it nearly impossible for disabled children or veterans to afford the limb they need. At Life Giving Limbs, we cover the cost of these prosthetics, giving recipients a chance at receiving a new limb and a new start on life. Please help by donating now. Visit lifegivinglimbs.com or call 469-601-8523.
Why can't I just speak to an actual human being? I need a new bank.
Well, actually, at One-to-One Financial, communication is not only number one, it's one-to-one. When you call, you get to talk to a real live Jacksonville human, fast and with someone who's truly concerned about your needs, your security, and finding solutions as a team.
Thank you. Ready to break up with your bank? Find a real long-term banking relationship at One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Visit one-to-onefcu.org for more information on opening an account today.
Federally insured by NCUA.
Hubbard House is the domestic violence center that serves Duval and Baker counties with free, confidential resources. The 24-hour hotline is 904-354-3114.
True House, a leader in the structural building component industry for over 35 years, is hiring full-time trust builders in Jacksonville and Crescent City. Benefits include 401k plan, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, and professional growth. No previous experience required. True House offers production incentives, allowing you to earn up to $2 more per hour in your weekly paycheck. Most employees work Monday through Thursday, giving you more time with your family on the weekends. Apply for the full-time trust builder position at truehouse.com/careers.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Stay with ESPN 690 for your chance to see and hear our special events in the Farah and Farah Performance Studio throughout 2023. Powered by Farah and Farah and ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
All right, I'm a little disappointed.
Definitely talking about Kasey then.
Yeah, I'm welcoming you back to Stream Song Resort. And it's no longer the Cheez-It Bowl. Like
Really?
I wanted it to be the extra toasty Cheez-It Bowl.
But weren't there like 2 Cheez-It bowls?
Yeah, there are.
But now it's the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Oh, that's even better. Holy crap. Guys, I went to the Cheez-It Bowl last year. They gave us Cheez-Its. If I go next year and there's boxes of Pop-Tarts, ho, ho, ho.
You got a flavor that's dominating the other flavors? You got to go s'mores.
S'mores, yeah.
You got to go
That's actually what I was going to say.
All right, good.
This is not going to surprise you.
Oh, you like trail mix Pop-Tarts? You weirdo? You like room temperature water Pop-Tarts?
My sister was a big Pop-Tart fan.
That does surprise me.
I was never.
Yeah, because you just had a horrible life so far.
Oh, Brent.
I had
eating steel-cut oats as a child. What's wrong with you?
I had Pop-Tarts every day. I don't know if this says something about my parents, but they were great parents. Don't get after them for this. I have Pop-Tarts every day from like before school, from grade 1 through like 8, maybe even into high school.
Do you buy them anymore?
No.
That's one of the best things about being an adult, Case. You walk through Publix going, you know what? I feel like having spaghetti for breakfast today.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: Pop-Tarts, low-key not cheap. So, like, you know, can't really swing Pop-Tarts every day anymore.
You got to work in the budget.
Do you just eat them or do you toast them?
It's a very fair question. I used to not toast as much, but as I've matured, I became more of a toaster.
Have you matured? That's breaking news.
That is a
Did you throw the
sophisticated
breaking
palate.
news thing in?
Okay, he needs breaking news because he eats toasted Pop-Tarts. There we go.
Thank you very much.
Kasey has a matured, sophisticated palate. I will say, I look at someone who eats a raw Pop-Tart like I look at someone who just got out of jail.
No.
I'm like, all right, I kind of respect what you just did, but it's not really the way I want to live my life.
Well, no, I mean, it's a decision. It's certainly a decision, but
a bit
listen,
rough.
I'm a big fan of a food that can be eaten both raw and cooked. And
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and Pop-Tarts is
that's convenience.
It's
That's
the
what that
poster
is.
boy for that.
Yeah.
Brent Martin, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz. And Aaron, I would like to thank you,
Boy,
by the
I'm
way,
excited.
speaking of grocery shopping, for sending us the Mammoth Grip grocery bag carrier.
Yeah, you guys were playing dumb after I mentioned this in the 5 o'clock hour yesterday to Kasey. You guys are like, what do you mean grocery bag hooks? So I had to educate you fools.
I mean, this is unbelievable. Like,
It's
you
dope.
really do that?
Of course. Are you kidding me?
Does anybody else?
I mean, if they're real men, they do.
How much do these people sell? Do they make money off this item?
$20 a purchase. You better believe they do.
Look at this guy.
But it's basically a large handle with hooks on the end of it, and you put the grocery bags on the hooks so you can carry them all on the same trip.
How many bags did you get on there?
I mean, in the picture, it was probably close to 20 bags, maybe a little less, but I had a couple of 12ers of soda on me. The part that I thought was hilarious was the fact my family's just standing there looking at me.
Yeah.
Like, how about a little help here, guys?
The grocery bag. Do you seriously use these a lot?
Every single time I return from the grocery store, I'm going for the hooks.
Really?
Calling in the lefty. Give me the hook.
I have never heard of that.
Me
and I've
neither.
never seen that.
Yeah, says the guy who eats Trail Mix Pop-Tarts.
I just don't eat Pop-Tarts.
Even worse, Brent. You're not
Room
doing yourself any
temperature
favors right now.
Were there any Pop-Tarts in the bags?
No, but if you do peer through the plastic in the bag, you can see the garbage diet I'm loading my kids up with. There's a ton of goldfish on there. There's Cheerios on there. There's all kinds of snacks. No real food. Only processed foods in my house.
Yeah, we got a lot of that these days, too. From graduation parties to banquets to everything else to trips. I mean, it's awful.
We got every kind of chip and cracker you could think of, but don't ask me for a meat or a vegetable. I can't help
What you mean, dog? I see some Jimmy John sausage patties, looks like.
We do have the breakfast sandwiches.
Like I've had for all football season, I was on that 100-calorie snack stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was awful.
And Steph's done it, and so I'll do it. And now I'm feeling a little like I'm giving some of that back.
You got to make up the time, bro.
Right? And so now I bring, when I come to Stream Song for a few days, brought a bunch of those granola bars that we had, and I was snacking on 100 calories, watch it, don't go crazy.
Yeah.
Yuck.
And then next to it, Steph throws in this bag of Swedish fish.
Yes. Yes. Love
I'm
it.
like, what are we doing here?
We call that the crown killer.
So then I threw the crown killer. That is a killer for me. But then I throw more granola bars and other stuff in there just to balance it out, just to make me feel better about the attempt.
I was telling Kasey this weekend, I'm going back to the movies. I'm bringing my son. We're going to go see the Spider-Man movie. Sunday, 9 a.m. is the movie.
Really?
It's not going to stop us from a tub of soda and some candy, though. You better believe it.
Better
We're going
not.
after it,
Popcorn, too. Why? They actually have the movies start at 9 a.m.?
It's a good question.
It's the earliest movie they offered, yeah.
Why?
Well, well, if you really need to know, guys, my wife is taking my daughter to the swim lessons, so I figured I'd grab my son and we go hit the road for a little bit.
That's a good dad.
No, I'm more so why would they open the movie theater that early?
I will say this. Most of those tickets were bought.
Have you ever seen 9 a.m., Kasey?
It's like daycare movies.
Not in a minute. Didn't see it today, to be real with you.
Hey, Aaron Rodgers tried to bounce the GM in Green Bay like every year he was there, it sounds like.
Yeah, it sounds like this was an ongoing tradition.
Is there a guy in the NFL that wanted more power or tried to play the power position more, recently at least, than Aaron Rodgers?
How you feel about Antonio Brown?
He failed at it, but he tried.
Yeah, I think he was kind of lost his mind.
Yeah.
That's a little different. Like Aaron Rodgers, I'm not sure he lost his mind, even though he went in the darkness. I think he was very calculated, and I think he knew the power that he held as the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, and that he thought he could maybe do this stuff, like change management.
What about going back to Eli when he's like, I'm not playing there?
Oh, with San Diego.
It only happened once, but it worked.
Yeah, that's fair.
You could make the case Tom Brady had a little bit of that with his strength and conditioning coach, whoever his trainer was, that they didn't want around the facility.
I guess, but Belichick ended up, in a way, kind of winning.
Yeah, they shipped Tom out.
They never gave him that 5-year contract to play until he was 47.
Yeah.
You know?
So has a player ever won in a power struggle in the NFL? Because it happens in the NBA constantly.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I don't know. I think Aaron Rodgers won a little bit. I mean, he got a 2-year, $100 million deal.
They still tossed him out of the city, though.
But they eventually, he kind of tossed himself. He said, basically, I'm done. I want out.
Yeah, well, to me, that's a loss, right? If you say to the ownership, hey, fire this guy or I'm out of here, and they're like, peace out, homie, then I would chalk that up as an L.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I just don't feel like anybody has played I know that players are more powerful. We have this discussion all the time, and we've been having this discussion for years, how powerful players are, how the brand is, how much money they're making. But I'm just not sure anybody tried to play the game to the degree he did. Listen, Seattle eventually moved on from Russell Wilson. Was that Seattle? Was it Russell Wilson? We don't know. There was that summer where everything was going on, right?
Yeah.
Devontae Adams. These guys all do it to some degree. But I'm just not sure year after year anybody did it like Aaron Rodgers has done it. I mean, he tried to become really the most powerful player in the NFL, in my opinion, in terms of swaying their organization. I mean, at the end of the day, these are billion-dollar organizations.
Yeah,
that's a tough thing to win a fight against.
Yeah, totally. Especially when you're not on the same side as the owner might be. And that's the thing I think some of the players don't realize is, sure, you might have more value or contractual worth than the general manager or somebody in the front office, but those guys are meeting with the owner every day. They're talking to the owner every day. You're maybe talking to the owner once every couple of weeks or months.
Well, this goes back, guys, to the point of not that Trevor Lawrence, I feel, is going to do this. You never know. I mean, when Aaron Rodgers, you could make the case that it was always a salty relationship. He got drafted. He didn't play right away. He didn't play. He waited on Brett Favre. Like he got tired of it.
And then they never drafted help for him.
Then they didn't draft help. Then they drafted his replacement years ago. Then, so there's all this stuff. Like Trevor Lawrence, I'm not predicting he gets to this point, but that's not the point of what I'm trying to say. I think now organizations have to be so careful to, in a way, massage that relationship. And so you make them, that quarterback especially, part of it. Listen, if Jalen Ramsey's going to want out, sooner or later you're going to, okay, Jalen, bye. Trevor Lawrence wants out. You don't want that to happen, So you have got to do everything you can to make him feel a part of it. And I'll say this. I think the listening about the Urban stuff way back a year plus ago, I think some of the other things that have probably transpired in terms of communication with Trevor Lawrence, even as a very young player, and really at the time until 2 months ago, an unproven player in the NFL, I think has set the table for a good relationship in Jacksonville for Trevor Lawrence, Shad Khan, Doug Peterson, Trent Baalke, the front office. But they have to maintain that because those things can go sour at any time.
Sure.
And you're pulled in a lot of ways. And again, Trevor's going to hold a lot of power in this organization. So I'm not trying to predict anything to that degree. I'm just saying it's something to be aware of. When guys are making $50 million, the bottom line is they've got power. You can't just replace that guy in his skill set. And Patrick Mahomes has power, and Josh Allen has power, and Lamar Jackson proved that he's got some power. He got OBJ $15 million. Aaron Rodgers brought the whole Green Bay Packers with him.
Oh, boy, did he.
So I think there's that's something to keep an eye on. And again, it's important for the organization not to give a player everything they want, but I think to include a player in conversations and discussions. And that's what's fascinating about these upcoming contracts, right? Don't you get the sense that Cincinnati and Joe Burrow at the moment are working kind of together and hand in hand? We'll see if that plays out for Herbert and the Chargers.
And that's what all the Bengals propaganda is leading us to believe. One thing I think we as fans and teams and front offices have to start doing is when you talk about the cost of the contract of the big-time quarterback or big-time NFL player, a guy like Aaron Rodgers or even a guy like Joe Burrow, it's not just the number you're putting down on their paycheck, but it's the number you're going to marry yourself to make the player happy. So in the case of Aaron Rodgers, it wasn't just picking up the remainder of the $150 million contract. You also had to pay for a whole Allen Lazard and Randall Cobb and Nathaniel Hackett. And if I'm Jets front office, I'm like, this is literally on Aaron Rodgers' contract at this point.
Yeah,
because we wouldn't have touched those guys without him.
It's very much the same as a big-time college football coach, right? College football coach says, hey, I need $7, $8, $9, $10 million, whatever it is, and my assistants now need to make $2 million a year. Right? So you bring that whole staff and elevate, and that's a lot of the discussion sometimes when a new contract's being done in college basketball or college football is, okay, how do we get our assistants to X number? Well, that's why some defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators in college football are making over $2 million now.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Pretty crazy.
10 years ago, no way. Right?
Head coaches weren't making that 10 years ago.
But the head coach has certainly elevated that. Got some interesting stats from that stat boy when it comes to offense and defense for not only the Jags but the NFL. We'll get to that in just a bit. We take a break from Stream Song Resort here in Bowling Green, Florida, and we talk a little bit more about some golf, what's coming up around here, and also tell you more about our Dream 18 2023 on the way on a Wednesday. Brent and Friends on ESPN 690, live from Stream Song Resort. We're here until 5:15 tonight, then Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp doubleheader on ESPN 690. And don't forget, check out our YouTube channel all the time. Subscribe to Action Sports Jacks. Everything we do on CBS 47, Fox 30, and on ESPN 690. You can find it on our YouTube channel, Action Sports Jacks.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
ESPN 690 wants to pay your bills. We'll have 5 chances every weekday to win $1,000. All you have to do is enter the correct keyword at ESPN690.com to be eligible to win. This is a nationwide contest. Message and data rates apply. ESPN 690 pays your bills. Sponsored by the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Weekdays at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., noon, 2, and 5 p.m. Tune in to win from ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
Bundling and saving with Geico is an easy choice, so you're free to ponder life's big questions, like What's the best animal in the world if not humans? I'd strongly consider ducks to be somewhere up there on the list. Think about it. Ducks can swim, ducks can fly, and ducks can walk on land. They have access to all terrains. They are the ultimate animal. And they wiggle their butts when they walk, which is funny. Yeah, ducks are awesome. End of story. Bundling and saving with Geico. It's an easy choice.
I switched to Boost Mobile and got a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Want to know the best part?
It was free?
Nope.
The fact that it's on America's largest 5G networks?
Nope. It's the ding.
Oh yeah, love the ding.
Right? It's all about the ding. It's the dingarooski, the dingaroner, the ring-a-ding-ding.
Unleash your power to save with Boost. Get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone when you switch. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power.
And the ding.
Limited time offer. New customers only. Available on select networks. 5G not available everywhere. One device per line. Tax excluded. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
It's fishing time, old school style. The Dailies Old School Kingfish Shootout, presented by Yellowfin, is June 10th in St. Augustine. Fishing fun for everyone. Big boats, small boats, and just a $250 entry fee if you register early by May 31st. The catch for the Old School Kingfish Shootout, limited boundaries. Fernandina Beach to Daytona Beach, but only 3 miles offshore. OldSchoolKingfish.com to register and do it early by May 31st. Get your chance to win over $200,000 in prizes. Fishing fun for everyone, June 10th in St. Augustine. OldSchoolKingfish.com.
Make the superior choice when you hire a plumber. From unclogging drains and water heater repairs to complete cast iron pipe replacements, Superior Plumbing and Pipelining has you covered. Request a free estimate from Superior Plumbing and Pipelining at SuperiorPlumbingJacks.com.
Rich Jones here. Investing can be more about just filling a bank account. It's about having a secure retirement, protecting your family. Let DLP Capital help you to protect your why. Here's CEO and founder Don Wenner.
I started DLP Capital with an expectation that I could provide my family, my investors, my team members, and the families of my investors with awesome returns, limited volatility, and no losses, all while providing desperately needed affordable housing to the American workforce.
To get your investor's guide and learn more, dial *invest on your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
All offers are with approved credit and not in conjunction. See dealer for complete details.
Get the pickup you'll love driving and enjoy the best savings of the year at Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Bay Meadows. It's Ram season. The incentives are out, and this is a great time to buy. If you're looking for a great truck at a great price, save up to 10% and more on a brand new 2023 Bighorn or Laramie.
Wait, there's more.
Every new Ram on the lot is priced to save you up to $14,000 off MSRP. We get more because we sell more, and we've got a lot. Enjoy 2.9% financing for 72 months. That alone is valued at over $12,000. Our lenders are ready and waiting to make you a new car loan today. Bring us your old pickup in trade, and we'll pay more for it,
even if you don't buy from us.
See our inventory at JAXCJDR.com. Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, I-295 and Bay Meadows.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates, it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with ESPN 690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN 690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690. Hey, welcome back to Stream Song Resort. Brent Martineau along with Craig Falanga as we welcome him in. Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz back in the Action Sports Shack studios. Brent and friends on a Wednesday. Had a chance to play some golf out here. The blue course today, the red tomorrow, the black on Friday. And this isn't our first trip. I was just telling Craig we've been doing this since 2014. A little guys trip today. Bring this week Ty Guy out here after he got out of school and before the travel baseball season begins. And just one of our favorite places to come, and they've been a big supporter of our Dream 18 over the years as well, with some giveaways and silent auction items, and we appreciate that. Dream 18 2023, by the way, coming up September 18th at the Golf Club at Southampton back in Jacksonville. And the Dream 18 card, we'd love to get Stream Song on it. That's not on the card, but you can still get the Dream 18 card just in time for Father's Day, and go to Action Sports Shacks, Dream 18. Craig, thanks for having us out today. Good to see you again. And, place only gets bigger and better as you got a new one opening up on January 1st, it looks like. The Chain.
The hits just keep on coming, Brent. We've got sorry, we're a little – there we go. Check. Okay.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
The hits keep coming. The Chain's going to open hopefully this fall. We're not sure exactly when yet, but we are taking tee times beginning January 1st of 24. Core Crenshaw designed short course. You know, it's pretty cool. My office window kind of looks out over in that direction. So anytime there's something going on, I actually have binoculars now that I look out the window and hey, look, they're doing something today. There's, and then we do drone shots every week to kind of keep people updated on our social media of what's next and what's happening. But we expect to see grass going in here probably in the next 2 weeks. And then obviously it's all up to Mother Nature from there, right? And then hopefully those things that like to come up in the Gulf of Mexico.
Hopefully you get rain, but not too much rain, right?
Just the right amount.
Yeah, that's it. That's important in this world, and that's an interesting part of it because we drove in today and we've been coming, like I said, since probably 2014, and. To see it, it's near the lodge, which I was like, okay, I think that's going to be it. Is that the spot? And, that's the spot, which is a little different than the other courses.
For sure.
Makes a lot of sense. The short course stuff, 3,000 yards, has become a popular thing at resorts like this around the country, which also make a lot of sense because you guys have conventions and business meetings, and maybe – people don't have 5 hours to go play 18 holes, but they can go play that in 2 hours.
Yeah, and not really so many conventions as maybe we used to do. We have lots of kind of mid-sized groups. All of them are golf-centric. Almost all of our groups are going to play some kind of golf while they're here at some point, hopefully multiple days of golf. But, it's the one thing that was really missing from the inventory of what we offer. As it relates to golf, we've got the three big courses that are all ranked in the top 40 in the country, which is something that we're the only place in the eastern United States that can say. And we really didn't have, we have the roundabout at Black that's kind of 7 holes. You make up your own course a little bit, and it's a lot of fun. And that one's free to play, but we really needed something that was on the level of like Band Preserve or, the Cradle, something like that.
That's
and
up
so
at Pinehurst.
we enlisted, the two best guys living to do that kind of thing, and it's Core and Crenshaw. And they already did the red, which is the highest ranked of the 3 that we have. And I think they have now 8 or 9 in the top 100 you can play, which is just spectacular, right, to say that they've got that many. And Bill Core was probably as excited about that piece of land as he's been about anything, and some of the things he said early on about just, what he expects to see out there and what they've done. They're just tickled to death. There's a little bit of elevation change, maybe not to the extent that you have on the big courses, but, 20, 30 feet in some areas. They've got a big punch bowl green out there that goes over one of the old mine cuts. They've got a green like Riviera with a bunker in the middle of the green. They've got a couple of holes that look like some other famous holes from other courses that you'll see. But 19 holes in all. We think roughly 3,000 yards. We'll know for sure once we get everything grassed and can see it a little bit better. But going to be a lot of fun, and it is walking distance right out the front door. We're going to build actually a bridge over that big lake that's right out front, so you can get to what will eventually be the clubhouse there. 6-hole loop and a 13-hole loop, or you can play all 19 holes at once.
That's fantastic. A lot of imagination around that 19-hole course, it sounds like, as well. Craig Falanga with us here on Brent and Friends on ESPN 690 from Stream Song Resort. We join you the remainder of the week. And, we talk how golf boomed in the COVID time for everybody, it seemed like. And here in the state of Florida, as obviously we're talking to a bunch of folks from Jacksonville, a huge golf area, it doesn't seem like it stopped.
Right.
I mean, golf just continues to, I don't know if it's grow, but the courses seem filled. And even places here like Stream Song Resort, seems like you've got a lot of activity.
So 2 years ago, basically, we made a kind of a switch in our strategy, right? And we focused really on the core buddy golf group, because that's really what we are. This is a buddy golf destination. And there's not any other place in the eastern U.S. that has 3 courses that are ranked in the top 40 you can play. And that in itself is what drives people to see it, because there's only a couple places where you can go and play top 100 courses, and anytime you have more than one in the same location, people want to check them off their bucket list. And hopefully we do a good enough job while they're here where they want to come back again and again. And we're seeing guys now, they're like, yeah, we've been here 8 years in a row. We've been here 9 years in a row. We're on our 11th year, which is hard to believe. It's, December of 12 is when we opened up. And, they love it, and we're trying to do everything we can to make it more fun while they're here. You've probably seen some changes since the last time you were here. We actually opened this bar that's behind us, the Leaf
This wasn't
Lounge
built
in the
when we
lobby.
hosted our show some years back.
Yeah. So this opened back in 21. Right now we're doing redoing the rooftop 360 bar upstairs that you can look out in both directions and see some things. So we're going to have some cool new things there. We added a pub over in the Red and Blue Clubhouse that we didn't have before, and then made the Canyon Lake Steakhouse now on the end. So if you want the big over-the-top steakhouse with the fine dining experience, we've got that. But the pub where you can go watch games and hang out and hear the games in surround sound and have a burger and wings and stuff like that, we've got that too.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Craig Falenga with us from Stream Song Resort. Listen, we're talking to folks in Jacksonville. It's like a 3-hour and 18-minute drive. That's what it was this morning when we left about 5:30 and came over. So it's not bad at all. And it's one of the most unique properties, and you mentioned it, top 40 courses, 3 of them. But now this is the time for folks in Jacksonville and others, right?
Yeah.
Because you can take advantage of the Florida resident rate during the summer months. So this is where you see a lot of activity from the state of Florida, won't you?
We will, yeah, because, so the knock maybe from the rest of the country is, it's hot in Florida in the summertime.
Yeah.
Well, if you live in Florida, it's still hot in Florida, right? Regardless of where you live. And quite honestly, I mean, if you look at the average temperature here versus like Washington, D.C. or a big metro area, we're not as hot as they are. I mean, those guys get up in the hundreds. We're in the low 90s. I realize we may be splitting hairs on the heat at this point, but my point is it's going to be hot everywhere. Show your driver's license when you check in. But like golf, if you're staying at the resort, starts at $99 a person from now through the middle of September. If you're not a resort guest, it's $149 a person. That's walking. Then if you want to add a card, it's $35 more. And we see a lot of activity from that. And then, our room rates are about 20% off of what our non-Florida resident or Florida, Georgia resident rate would be at that time. So gives you a chance to experience, what we do, but maybe not pay the rates you would pay in peak season in, November or January or February.
Let's wrap up with this. You also have, obviously it's a resort. It's a top 40 course, 3 of them, top 40 courses. You're building the chain. But it's a championship course at times. You guys host big-time events. It sounds like you got another one coming up in late June for the golf fan.
The Florida FSGA Senior Amateur event's coming up the end of June, 25th through the 28th. So the top senior players in the state of Florida will be out here for that. We had the Women's Open 2 years ago. Last year we had the Men's Amateur Championship. So we've got, when I say the women's, it's the Florida State Women's Amateur. So we've done a lot of amateur stuff. We actually had the U.S. Open sectional back in 18 out on Black, right after Black Open, and the kid that won shot like 18 under for 2 rounds. So, I mean, these guys are good. These guys are good. Mito Pereira was actually second in that qualifier.
How about that?
And I hadn't heard his name until last year, the PGA Championship. I'm like, wait a minute, I remember that guy.
That's that guy.
Fred Biondi, who just won the
national championship for the Gators.
Florida, won the amateur championship when it was here 2 years ago.
That's good stuff. LSU guy, right?
I grew up in Louisiana. I actually went to Sanford.
Yeah, Sanford. Good deal, and happy birthday. Belated
Thank
birthday.
you. Yeah, it was yesterday.
It was your birthday.
How about that? How'd
see
you know that?
We'll do our research
telling
around
stories
here.
about me, man.
And you got a Bartram Trail connection.
I do.
Back in Jacksonville.
Yeah, my buddy Robert Dean.
We
played ball together at Sanford back in the day.
That's great stuff. If Alan Verlander's listening, he'll be happy to hear another Sanford guy, too.
Sure.
He's a Jacksonville guy. Craig, appreciate it, man. Good luck. Have a great summer.
Thanks
and
for being here.
We'll enjoy the visit here to Stream Song Resort, as we always do. Brent and Friends on ESPN 690. We're back right after this 4 o'clock hour. Back to some football conversation as well next.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
What? They did not tell me they were going to do that. I need a new bank.
Well, actually, One-to-One Financial doesn't do the usual bank surprises because we're not a bank. We're a credit union. And that means lower loan interest, things like free checking and member rewards, and of course, total investment back into our community.
I'm sold.
Find a better way to bank than big banks with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Visit 121fcu.org for more information on opening an account today.
Federally insured by NCUA.
It's fishing time, old school style. The Dailies Old School Kingfish Shootout, presented by Yellowfin, is June 10th in St. Augustine. Fishing fun for everyone. Big boats, small boats, and just a $250 entry fee if you register early by May 31st. The catch for the Old School Kingfish Shootout, limited boundaries. Fernandina Beach to Daytona Beach, but only 3 miles offshore. OldSchoolKingfish.com to register and do it early by May 31st. Get your chance to win over $200,000 in prizes. Fishing fun for everyone, June 10th in St. Augustine. OldSchoolKingfish.com.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
I'm Mark Anajar.
I'm Glenn Levine.
I'm Ellie Anajar.
And we're Anajar and Levine. Experience the Anajar and Levine difference by calling us with any of your legal needs. Call 1-800-747-FREE for a free consultation and take back control of your life.
Main office, Jacksonville.
1946 was a year of firsts. The first commercial use of a microwave oven, the first album release from Frank Sinatra, and the first name in Jacksonville roofing opened for business. Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company's commitment to protecting Northeast Florida homes spans 3/4 of a century. For roof repairs or replacements, make sure your first call is to the first name in Jacksonville roofing, Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company. Request a free estimate at jackcwilsonroofing.com. Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company, the first name in Jacksonville roofing. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The Denver Nuggets host their first NBA Finals game tomorrow night against the Heat. Denver guard Jamal Murray talks about his ability to shoot big shots in big moments.
I don't know who doesn't want that shot. You know, I grew up watching basketball, loving the game, and wanting to make those shots and take those shots, miss or make. You know, I want to test my ability and put it to the test, like I said. So, no, I just love that moment. I love being the one to step up, and my teammates trust me a lot of time to make the shot, so I've been doing it all my life.
Jamal Murray of the Nuggets, and you can hear more of that interview during our NBA on ESPN radio coverage of Game 1, starting at 7:30 Eastern tomorrow night. The game also on ABC TV and the ESPN app. First baseball final of the day, the Tigers beat the Rangers 3-2. Jake Marisnick drives in a run. He was just acquired by Detroit in a trade with the White Sox. Andrew Brunette is the new head coach of the Nashville Predators. He takes over for John Hines. At the French Open, among the second-round winners today, American women Jessica Pegula, Sloane Stephens, and Peyton Stearns.
Coming up Thursday, Eric Spoelstra will go down as one of the greatest coaches to ever do it. But does he have the edge against Michael Malone? Keyshawn, J. Will and Max, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year 2 pom-pom people.
Kasey Kurtz.
Yo! But what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship.
This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio, ESPN 690.
Welcome back to the Brent and Friends radio show, ESPN 690. Aaron Schachter on the air, hanging with you. Kasey Kurtz behind the glass. TV's Brent Martineau on the road at a remote location. One of the prettiest remote locations in the country.
Did you just see what happened there?
I did not see. I'm busy doing a radio show now.
So Brent, well, never mind. He put the speaker up to his
He heard
ear
we had it handled, that's all.
to see if we were still on the air, and then he put it down.
He wanted to make sure we had it handled, Case.
The disrespect.
No, I feel like it's the respect.
Feels like
guys
this.
like these guys are professionals. They can
And then,
handle it.
after all this, he's just not going to be in the shot anymore. Brutal.
Oh, my God. Why do you got to give this guy a hard time constantly, Case?
Brutal. Hey, Brent.
Hey, what's up?
Not much.
I was talking about Bartram Trail playing against Trevor Lawrence and stuff, guys. I mean, come on.
Does Bartram play against Trevor on the schedule?
Remember, back in the day, they did. Like, that's the whole story.
Be a rout.
Would it?
Yeah.
Give me the Jags minus 85.
Yeah. Back, it's amazing how many people you run into that remember that Bartram Trail game against Trevor in the high school. And it was on ESPN. And so it was Joey Gatewood against Trevor Lawrence.
Ooh.
And Gatewood ended up going to Auburn and then Kentucky. Did he go to UCF as well, Kasey? You remember that?
Unconfirmed.
You don't remember the name Joey Gatewood?
Oh, I remember the name Joey Gatewood. Very much so. But I don't know if he went to UCF.
But, yeah, Cartersville against Bartram, it was like a big thing. And
He did go to UCF, by the way.
I was just talking to Craig, and he was like, yeah, obviously he had his buddy that he went to college with, was on the staff at Bartram. But there's so many people that remember that game. And I guess he was asking the Bartram Trail coaches way back. He's like, I heard you're going to be on ESPN. He's like, yeah, we're playing this kid. He's good. He's like, yeah, whatever. Turns it on. He's like, oh, yeah, I guess he is pretty good.
Good education.
The Trevor Lawrence story rolls on. What will be the next chapter of the Trevor Lawrence story is the interesting part. Brent Martineau along with Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz, and, hey, that's Stat Boy checking in with an important stat for our offense and defense conversation.
Oh, cool.
He says, because everyone is stressing about the defense, here is where Super Bowl champions ranked in total defense since 2016.
Love it. Thank you, Stat Boy. Go ahead.
All right, ready for some numbers?
Yep.
So this is, again, total defense since 2016.
I think we actually did this literal conversation a few weeks ago, but please continue.
All right, 12th, 17, 6, 17, 21, 4th, and 8th.
Yeah, and when we talked about it, I actually went back, I think, to the year 2000 just to find any real dominant defenses. And there were like one or two. But to Stat Boy's point, the offense needs to be in sixth gear to get it done.
Here's where the offenses were ranked in these since 2016. 1, 9, 7, 6, 5, 7, 4.
So I was right.
Score 30 points and you win the Super Bowl.
You win the Super Bowl.
Okay, cool. I was right, yeah. Go me.
So, that is
big day for the kid.
Basically what that boy said was, yeah, this is a big day for you. This is like reinforced another good talking point by you.
Look at me go.
This, what he basically says is the defense has to be average. Now, I think the defense is better than average at times. Like, Kansas City's defense might have been average, but they did have 55 sacks last year.
You also have to be able to not break at important parts of the game. It's one thing to give up 20 points in a game. It's another thing if you give up 12 in the last quarter.
Well, yeah, true, right? And opportunistic, and maybe some of those. This is where, again, the Jags played well into the stats didn't matter last year except for turnovers. You know, the Jags were top 5, I want to say, in turnovers forced, and that carries and erases a lot of other statistics that don't look so good. So, yeah, I agree. I mean, I the conversation at the start of the show was, do you want to score 30-plus points, or do you want the defense to be elevated so they become part of it, more dominant? Like, I'm afraid to say dominant because I don't think they're going to be dominant, but better. And now you have a well-rounded team. Well, the answer looks like, at least over the last 7 years, that it's just score. Just score, baby. And your defense will probably be better because of it. And Kansas City has certainly benefited from that. Listen, it was just a couple years ago that the Jags beat the Buffalo Bills in Jacksonville 9-6. And the Buffalo Bills came to town. They had the number one offense in the NFL. They had the number one defense in the NFL. Now, that very year, even though they had lost to the Jags, that was that crazy, epic game against the Chiefs where they easily could have won. And they gave up the lead with, 13 seconds to go or something. So they might have had the number one offense and number one defense in the Super Bowl. So if you can do that, more power to you. That certainly helps.
Yeah.
I don't think you can be number one offense and 30th ranked defense.
Seems unlikely.
You can try.
If you're the 30th or 31st, 32nd ranked defense, chances are you're not scoring. Let's see. So the most points given up on average by a team last year was the Bears. 27.2 points per game.
Ooh,
but the most points scored on offense on average was the Chiefs at 29.2. You had the Bills at 28.4, the Eagles at 28.1. So the top three offenses scored more than the worst defense gave up. So, again, to the point, offense is more important than defense in that conversation.
Yeah, I guess score, baby, score. That's the key. And, hey, listen, here's the deal. The bottom line is your brand and the fun entertainment value of your team is better when your offense is scoring. Because that's what we do. First of all, we want to see that.
We like home runs.
Secondly, we identify with players that way because they get in the MVP conversation, Pro Bowl conversation, and your fantasy football daily conversation.
That being said, the whole identity in 2017 was Saxonville. That's fun, too. Chasing a quarterback, making a quarterback run for his life is kind of fun, too.
Well, and also scoring 8 touchdowns or whatever. That's just not – you can't plan for that. So that was a little bit of an outlier and a bit absurd. But I'll tell you this. Were the Rams really that exciting when they did have Donald and Ramsey in this defense? Was that why? Were you tuned in to watch that defense? I don't know, but Patriots have been very good defensively. Early on, and a couple of decades ago, early on in the Brady years, it was good defense.
It was boring defense, though. It was great tackling defense.
I mean, I'll tell you the last entertaining. I give you the Jags, by the way. I think the Jags were an entertaining defense.
Yeah.
The Steelers have had good defenses, but really the entertaining, you tune in to watch defense of the last decade and a half, I believe is the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, the Legion of Boom.
Yeah, I think because, listen, they had Russell Wilson, they had Marshawn Lynch, they had some offensive players. But you really wanted to go check out Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas and everybody else. They had personality, right? They had character, and they were good and dominant. And I think that was the kind of the way the Jags were in 17. Not only did the Jags have swagger and they were good on defense, but they also had some personality there. That's where their personality guys were. And they had a nickname. So I guess nicknames help.
Nicknames do help.
Nicknames help. I was thinking of this today. I looked at some, I think I saw I don't know if it's your favorite Pro Football Focus ranking or whatever. And I saw Tyson Campbell's name.
Oh, I did see these.
Did you see it? It was was he fifth or something? He was a couple of slots, slightly behind Jalen Ramsey. I think he was third.
That's not what I was looking at today. I was looking at their 2023 rankings for cornerbacks, and he was not fifth.
Okay. Well, this one was fifth last year. Let me the Jaguars, I believe, retweeted it. So I should be able to find it pretty quick.
Yeah, I thought what I saw from the Jaguars was a thinking emoji because Campbell wasn't on their top 10.
Yeah, so they were talking the smack because PFF has been garbage recently with these lists, and they had the receipts from last year when Tyson was on their list.
Okay, so he was. Okay, so Sauce Gardner was number one last year. Surtain,
No. Sauce number one this year.
Okay, but he's last year too. It says highest graded CB cornerbacks this season.
Oh, at the end of the season. Okay.
Yeah, it's from last year.
Got it. I thought it was 2022 preseason. Okay.
So Sauce Gardner, Patrick Surtain, by the way, two young guys, really young, 1 and 2. Jalen Ramsey third. Travarius Ward fourth, slightly ahead of Tyson Campbell, followed by Patrick Peterson, Jair Alexander. And so it got me thinking, have the Jags found the Jalen Ramsey replacement finally?
Yeah, I'd say another big season from Campbell, and you could say that, at least locally. Like maybe Campbell doesn't have the career Ramsey ultimately ends up having, now playing at like a really high level, possibly for his third straight team. I mean, if he becomes an all-pro with the Dolphins, that's pretty significant. That's like Deion Sanders territory right there. That being said, you really haven't been able to replace him in a long time. And if Campbell puts in another good year or a dominant year, I think it's a done deal. Also encouraging, by the way, I know the Jaguars weren't happy with Campbell's placement, and I know it's a bit low. I think on this year's 23 list, the reason for that tweet in the first place, they have him at 25 out of their top 30.
Really?
Or I'm sorry,
going into the year?
25 out of 32, yeah.
Wow.
But the part that I think is encouraging for fans of the Jaguars and really folks following the AFC South is that when you look at the competition, even in the AFC, there are only a few teams on this top 32 list with two corners on the list. You know, Miami is there. They've got two great corners. You've got a couple of those teams from the AFC listed here. Jaguars are one of them. You got Darius Williams at 30 on this list. So two top 30 corners, I get it. It's not the biggest compliment to be, Tyson Campbell, you're 25th best in the league, but it kind of is. You're CB1 in the league.
Kasey, am I going a little overboard? Replacement of Jalen Ramsey is finally here.
No, I don't think you're going overboard because, like, that's what it is. You know what I mean? Like, he might not be have a good of career as Ramsey had, but he's certainly the most talented they've had since him. So, yeah, he kind of fills that role no matter if he lives up to what Jalen did or not.
I guess what's the live up, right? Like, if you look at Pro Football Focus numbers, the numbers are a few points off. Okay, whatever. It's more of a feel thing to me. Like Ramsey's not going to the Hall of Fame because of the amount of interceptions he has. Ramsey's going to go to the Hall of Fame because he's a shutdown guy that nobody will throw to that side to. They don't want to.
He was also elite during his career. So like the defensive rookie of the year, all the Pro Bowls and all that stuff. I think is how I think that you judge against what he did here in Jacksonville. So in Jacksonville, he went to the Pro Bowl 3 times.
All pro. Listen, he's in the conversation every year for best corner in the game. And so Tyson Campbell, can he get to that point where people won't throw his way? I think at times they didn't want to. And, of course, they could pick on Shaq Griffin or the replacement of Shaq Griffin last year. We get to the point where people aren't throwing Tyson Campbell's way. I agree with you guys. I'm not sure we're going to say he's as good as Jalen Ramsey. But the point is you've got yourself an established big-time corner. I don't need Jalen Ramsey. You need a big-time corner at that position to shut down half the field. And can he be that? Is he that? And the Jags looked for that. The Jags looked for that in C.J. Henderson right away with one of those draft picks, and it was a mistake. They looked to replace Jan and Ramsey with C.J. Henderson and Caleb Von Chason. And it just didn't work. Like, it was too much of a reach. Like, I hated it because of what it was and what they were trying to do. But if Tyson Campbell is the best, which it looks like that, since Jalen Ramsey, another thank you Urban card goes in the mail.
He's earned it for a couple of these picks now.
I mean, there are probably more thank you Urban cards than we want to admit.
Yeah, I agree with that. And honestly, the bad work that was done from Urban
seems
and
to
his
be
regime,
a positive.
Well, I was going to say some of that bad work maybe outweighs some of the good feeling, but not necessarily the actual value of the good work. Case.
You know what's crazy? I'm looking at Jalen. His AV, if you're an AV person, is 79. Like, he's had multiple years of over a 10 AV. 2 years with 15 AV. That's wild, bro.
Like, what you gotta give us some relationship to that. Like, what is, like, how high is that?
High, like,
because we just don't like what
that many years. Yeah,
like basically. By the way, just to explain to folks, the AV, the metric that Kasey and Aaron look at here is a lot like WAR in baseball.
All right, so yes, it is. So Jamar Chase had an AV last year of 11. His rookie year, he had an AV of 13. He had 1,400 yards and 13 touchdowns. His AV was 13. Jalen Ramsey's AV his first year with the Rams with just one interception was 15.
Wow.
So he's
with one interception.
Yes. That's how much he's locking people down.
Wow. That is wild to me.
Wild.
See, I think Tyson has a chance to make bigger plays than even Jalen does because I don't think he's going to ever, I don't know ever, but I don't think at least right now he's respected to the point where Jalen was, where you just weren't going to go his way. So I think people are going to take chances, and I think that's why you saw Tyson come up with some bigger plays. And hey, listen, the great thing about Tyson Campbell that happened from week 1 last year to the rest of the season is his ability to make a play on the ball. Remember how much we asked Rasheed Mathis if you could do that? Can you learn that? And by the end of the year, it felt like he had learned that. So now I think you have a chance to get more big plays like interceptions and pick sixes and other things. Had a big fumble recovery against Houston, remember? So, I think Tyson can be really impactful. But I also think this was an Urban pick. Like, I don't think this was a bulky pick. I think this was an Urban pick. He knew him all the way back from the high school days. And I'm not here to give Urban credit. I'm just acknowledging.
Sounds like it.
Sounds like you're working his PR a little bit.
I'm not. There's no reason to work his PR. I just think we have to acknowledge sometimes that draft class, like Trent Baalke will get all the credit for it. He can take all the credit for it. Nobody's going to listen to Urban about it. But the bottom line is, like, that draft class looks very, very good for the Jags, and Urban was a part of that. And there are different ways that the thank you letters to Urban should go out. Maybe it's the Performance Center. Maybe it's the thank you for finally doing enough to get yourself fired so you weren't here for year 2.
True.
Like, no, I'm serious. Like, that is a big thing. In my opinion, the Jags caught a big break in all the stuff that ended up happening, even though it was so toxic, that Shad got to the point where he would fire him because Shad was known as a very loyal owner. And if some of that stuff hid and didn't go on the headlines, and maybe he takes the plane back, and he's not in the bar in Cincinnati, but all this other stuff is still happening. Well, he's there for year 2, guys.
Yeah.
He's still maybe here.
Well, maybe something happens in the offseason that is embarrassing and catastrophic. But you're right. Like, if he doesn't abandon the team, he probably is not getting fired when he gets fired.
Again, I think it's worth, like, we have all these conversations all the time, and I think it's worth bringing up some of the things that we talk about that we don't talk about, like, every day. And that's one of them. Like, you talk about breaks and fortuitous things that happen. Well, it seemed like everything was bad that year, which it kind of was. But also there was enough bad to actually turn it into good in the terms of him getting out, the length of time it took to get Peterson. Nobody else hired Peterson. And other things that ended up transpiring for the Jags to fall into place to where we are now. I mean, the bottom line is the Jags had 15 years of bad luck, it felt like. But they, over, I don't know, a 6-month stretch, seemed to run into some good things.
Yeah.
And some of that was the Urban departure. But back to Tyson Campbell. Urban Meyer was, I think, a big part of drafting Tyson Campbell. And this young man looks like a really good player. Can he get to that next phase? One final thought, because we're talking corners and we bring up Jalen Ramsey's name, and I know there's a segment of the population that doesn't like when we talk anything Jalen Ramsey still. It's like, get over Jalen Ramsey. That's not the point. I'm not getting over Jalen Ramsey. I think my question is, was it worth it for the Rams? Like, you just brought up the AV number 15 in his first year with the Rams.
By the way, Trevor Lawrence AV last year was 14.
Wow, so that's amazing.
So they're saying that twice in his career, Jalen's has been 15. His first year with the Rams and then 17 here. So in 2 years of his career, they're saying him, just straight up covering people is better than –
Or is worth more to the franchise.
Is worth more to the team, yes, than 4,000 yards and 25 touchdowns.
Listen, I don't dismiss that. I've said this countless times over the years. I mean, he was – if he had stayed in Jacksonville for 10 years, he would be the best player that ever wore the uniform.
True.
I mean, he just wasn't going to have that staying power. He's already on his third team, for crying out loud, right? So, but my point is, for the Rams' sake of what they did, the acquisition, 2 first-round picks and a 4th, the big contract, at least for a year, or was it maybe 2, and now they've unloaded it. Was it worth it? Was Ramsey worth it? And I guess with your 15 AV and with a Super Bowl trophy, the answer's got to be yes.
Yeah, it was worth it. Absolutely. I mean, again, AV's a big part here, but they won. Like, do they win without him? Maybe. I don't know.
Probably not.
So, I think the whole thing was worth it. And, yeah, you gave up a lot of picks for him, but you won at the end of the day, and that's really what matters. And it probably makes you feel better that when you look at who the Jags picked, you're like, it was fine. No big deal.
Yeah. Well, the Rams got it done. By the way, back to that stat boy, he double dip on the old Rams defense that we were talking about. 17th when they won the Super Bowl, 50 sacks that year, third overall. So very much like what we're saying about the Chiefs, that, okay, their defense might not scare you, might not overall be unbelievable,
but they pushed you.
There's a metric there where it's very good.
Yeah.
And again, I think that does relate to the Jags a little bit last year. Jags didn't win the Super Bowl. I get it. This is more of a Super Bowl metric, but the Jags had a nice run, and part of the reason they had a nice run, including getting to the playoffs with a win over Tennessee, was the fact that their defense was opportunistic. They were down in some categories, but they were opportunistic in the most important category in football, which is turnovers. So we'll see what the Jags defense does this year. But what we have learned today on Brent and Friends here on ESPN 690 is score 30 or more points and you have a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
Big Lombardi winner.
It's pretty much just that easy.
Defense wins championships, maybe, but it's overrated.
Offense wins Super Bowls.
We'll be back. Brent and Friends on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert Forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly sunny, warm, and humid today with a few widely scattered, mainly inland afternoon showers and a thunderstorm. Highs around 85, dropping to the mid to upper 60s tonight. And partly cloudy tomorrow. A few showers and thunderstorms that will shift inland through the afternoon. And a high of 83. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Join me today beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jack.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Proud to offer a huge selection of both lab-grown and natural diamonds at the lowest prices guaranteed.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can get 50% off a Connecticut K5 drinking water system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211. It's fishing time, old school style. The Daly's Old School Kingfish Shootout, presented by Yellowfin, is June 10th in St. Augustine. Fishing fun for everyone. Big boats, small boats, and just a $250 entry fee if you register early by May 31st. The catch for the Old School Kingfish Shootout, limited boundaries. Fernandina Beach to Daytona Beach, but only 3 miles offshore. OldSchoolKingfish.com to register and do it early by May 31st. Get your chance to win over $200,000 in prizes. Fishing fun for everyone, June 10th in St. Augustine. OldSchoolKingfish.com. Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can get 50% off a Connecticut K5 drinking water system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I think my battery's dead.
With free battery testing and charging, AutoZone is here to help.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
What if I need a new one?
We have the right batteries right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what if I don't know how to connect it?
No problem. We have a how-to for you at AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Imagine you're looking at a balancing scale. with everything you do for other people on one side and everything you do for yourself on the other side. If it isn't balanced, maybe it's time to spend a little more time on you. And therapy is a great place to start. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist online who can help you find that balance and stick to it. Visit BetterHelp.com/score to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/score.
Rich Jones here. If you're an investor who's interested in doing well while doing good, getting solid returns on your investments while making a positive impact, consider investment funds with DLP Capital. Here's Don Wenner, CEO of DLP Real Estate Capital, to tell you more.
With the current housing shortage in the U.S., investing in real estate, especially workforce housing, is one of the safest and most reliable places to invest. We invest in affordable housing for hardworking people and generate amazing returns for each of our investors.
To get your investor's guide and find out more, dial **invest from your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
You know that the technical trades are red hot with career opportunities. Skilled heating and air technicians are highly respected and make great money. And nowhere are the opportunities hotter than at Hammond Air Conditioning, a local Jacksonville HVAC contractor that's been serving commercial and residential customers for over 60 years. Hammond is hot because there's plenty of work and a variety of rewarding and interesting roles, especially for experienced commercial duct installation techs where the projects are already scheduled and you could get to work right away. While Hammond has job openings in all areas, we're especially in need of residential and commercial service technicians. Because of the variety of work Hammond performs, you'll have a bigger variety of career directions you could take advantage of compared to the other HVAC contractors. And you'll be working for a family-owned local company that wants to see you advance and make more money. Go to HammondAC.com or call 904-398-6488.
True House, a leader in the structural building component industry for over 35 years, is hiring full-time trust builders in Jacksonville and Crescent City. Benefits include 401k plan, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, and professional growth. Great starting pay for experienced construction pros, plus production incentives allowing you to earn up to $2 more per hour in your weekly paycheck. Most employees work Monday through Thursday, giving you more time with your family on the weekends. Apply for the full-time trust builder position at truehouse.com/careers.
Inflation has pushed up the cost of just about everything, which means if you bought life insurance a few years ago, it might not be enough to protect your family today. Now is the time to get the insurance you need at a price you can afford. In a hurry? Don't worry. Call Select Quote now and get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam. That's right. You can get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam in under an hour.
Call Select Quote at 1-800-613-8990. That's 1-800-613-8990. Or go to SelectQuote.com now and get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam. That's 1-800-613-8990. Or go to SelectQuote.com now.
Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercial.
Hey, it's Brent Morton from Action Sports Jacks. Did you know you can watch our radio show? Yeah, video of a radio show. Just search ESPN 690 Jacks on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Or follow me on Twitter at Brent A.S. Jacks. Watch the show live weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or listen on ESPN 690. Hey, welcome back. We are live at Stream Song Resort in Bowling Green, Florida, a little south of Lakeland, other side of Orlando, about 3 hours plus from Jacksonville. If you haven't been over here and you like golf, make it a destination. Plus Florida rates, resident rates, and Georgia resident rates right now in the summertime. Good guys trip, family trip. Got a spa as well. Won't be using that. That'd be good for you, Aaron.
You're not going to the spa?
No.
Why didn't we get invited, Brent? We're trying to get to the bottom of this, actually.
Well, why won't you go to the spa?
You guys don't play golf.
You got to treat yourself, Brent.
No,
I'm a man of luxury, though. I don't need to play golf to enjoy luxury.
Yeah, you can go lay out by the... Oh, well, you don't go outside, so that's a problem.
I was outside this weekend. I go outside occasionally.
You know what they have here? And the last time we did this, I think a lot of folks were listening, and I was told they called about the fishing. The bass fishing here is tremendous.
Do they have like an iconic food like you were getting at the Masters?
No, it's not like that. Though what is interesting is they have different food. Like today had fish tacos out on the course. And they have barbecue on one of the other courses, and they have a lobster roll, and then like all the way kind of all the works hot dog type thing at one of the other courses.
Yeah, why would we want to go to that?
And so what they did say is the short course that's coming up the chain that's opening later in the fall and in early 2024, which also is amazing because there's no grass on the course and it's going to be open in like a matter of months. But that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
They are trying to find like the food item over there, right? That they're going to specialize in. So it's pretty wild. Kind of fun to see this. It is kind of fun to see it because I've watched the place grow since like 2014. They opened in 2012, but it's really become a big-time destination around the country if you like golf. But what I was saying is the fishing is amazing. We know people in Jacksonville love the fishing. Fishing here, they also have archery and skeet shooting as well. So it's not just golf.
Yeah, I'm sure we could have found something to do.
You guys probably could have done one of those things.
You're talking about seeing this thing come to fruition over a couple of years. Is it kind of like when people find a band when they're small and it's their band, and then suddenly they get famous and people are like, "Oh, that sucks. I got to share this with everybody."
Yeah, a little bit. Well, they're happy to be able to share it with everybody.
Yeah, not you.
But yeah, it's no secret anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then the price tag goes up a little bit, but that's why the summer's the best because you get that Florida resident rate, which is definitely more reasonable. Speaking of fishing, don't forget about the Old School Kingfish Shootout coming up on June 10th. Last day, actually, to register for the Old School Kingfish Shootout and get it for $250 for the early registration fee is today. So make sure you go oldschoolkingfish.com. Brent Martin, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz, take us to Tweetland. We've got a short show today. Jumbo Shrimp playing at 5:15. We've got a Christian Kirk conversation on the way. But what do we have in tweets?
So I wanted to start with a Warren Sharp tweet because I haven't done Warren Sharp in a couple of days. You know I love him so much. I had trouble picking between two tweets, so I chose one, but I just want to read you the one I didn't pick because it's a wild stat. It's like a wild, because we were talking about Pat Mahomes earlier.
You really do have a crush on a lot of these guys.
This dude may be one of the best statistical tweet accounts in the world. He's always finding great little nuggets here. Check this out. Pat Mahomes has started 80 games, guys. The Chiefs have only lost 2 of them by more than 1 score. 2 out of 80.
Wow.
By far the best rate you've seen in NFL history. His ceiling, obviously the best in the NFL, but his floor is so good, even his worst games keeps his teams competitive. That's a wild stat to me.
That is pretty wild, and that shows you if you score 30 a game,
yes,
you're not even going to get blown out.
Just
You don't even have to play your A game.
Just keep scoring. All right, let's go to the real tweet that I chose because I find this one interesting. Brent, I'm going to ask you a quiz. Stop looking at your phone for a sec. I bet you would never guess the AFC team tied for most wins after Kansas City and Buffalo in the last 3 years, Brent. Who is the AFC team tied? I'm sorry. Who is the AFC team tied for the most wins after KFC and Buffalo?
KFC.
Kasey and Buffalo in the last 3 years.
It's not the Jets.
There are 2 answers, but I'm specific about one of them.
I'm going to say, I think Baltimore's actually slid down, but I'm going to say them. I'm going to say Tennessee.
Well, Tennessee is a great guess because they're the team that's tied with the team I'm talking about. Baltimore would have been a great guess, too, because they're 1 less. The answer I was going to give you, Brent, is Pittsburgh. At 30 wins, tied with Tennessee, so you did get it right. But to the point of the conversation, are we missing the boat on Mike Tomlin possibly being in the conversation when it's all said and done as being one of the greatest head football coaches of all time, even without having 15 Lombardi trophies?
Well, that's where it's tough for people, right? I mean, they've tried to fire Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh a couple of times.
Didn't work out, did it?
Well, and he's a fantastic coach. And what you said about floor for Kansas City is also floor for Pittsburgh. When they stink, they still don't stink.
They still almost hit the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, remember the year, it was 2 years ago, was it, that they were, like, atrocious? And they still ended up with, like, 8 wins. That was, I think it was 3 years ago now, because I think it was when it was still 16-game season. But he's been fantastic, but he's won 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And, like, can you be that fantastic winning just 1 Super Bowl? Well, Sean Payton has. Right now, I think Doug Peterson is.
Sean Payton's mid.
I think Mike Tomlin is the second best head coach in the NFL.
But, hey, here's the bottom line, though, Aaron, and Kasey, if you disagree or agree, but it sounds like you think Sean Payton's mid. So
I did.
Mike Tomlin's in the category of Sean Payton, who's done it for a long time, and Pete Carroll.
Yeah, Pete's good.
So, I mean, that's where he's at. But again, Belichick's on a different level. Like, nobody's on the Belichick level.
Belichick has been nearly invisible without Tom Brady.
Bro, so wait.
Actually, I'm sorry. Andy Reid probably belongs on the now because he won two.
Yes.
Like, he's multiple guys.
That's who I think is the number one coach of the NFL.
Well, right now. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think Tomlin is number two. Case gave me a look. What's up?
No,
I didn't know who you had at number one. I was confused.
Andy Reid.
So Belichick's just like, what else I got to do?
Well, he's got to do something without Tom Brady.
He's saying, what have you done for me lately?
No, I get you.
Is it a lately thing or ever?
No, it's not.
No.
He had a whole career before Tom Brady.
It's not an ever.
Oh, I saw him coaching on the Browns. He didn't look too great.
I mean, come on. Like, listen, your AFC.
If he's football Jesus, he's bringing the Browns to the Super Bowl.
Your AFC East bias has hit a new level in the last 30 seconds.
Oh, boy.
Belichick, overrated.
Before Brady was Brady, Belichick was Belichick. They relied on that defense and his prowess and his ability to build it. And he built it up. And by the way, Brady benefited from it too. And then somewhere along the way, the torch gets passed to the quarterback, and then Brady carries the freight. And that's what happened. That's kind of what happened with Russell Wilson in Seattle, too, for a while.
There's a little more revisionist history on Belichick, but that's fine. We could agree to disagree.
But to your point, no, I don't think Mike Tomlin is second.
In the NFL right now?
No.
Okay.
Brent, who do you think second? Don't
Belichick.
say Sean Payton. All right, cool.
All right, so
Doug Peterson.
What was Belichick's record last year? Do we remember what the Patriots did?
Bro, they had no business winning whatever games they won. I think it was 8.
Okay. I'm going to
Tomlin
give you
with the
something.
same garbage team, 1-9.
Yeah, okay.
No, that's not the same garbage team.
The Patriots? I mean, not exactly.
They had no offensive coaches. Now, granted, that is his fault as well.
That is extremely his fault.
But they had no business winning 8 games. Them boys suck. They got no business winning 2 games this year. We'll see what happens.
They did play the Jets.
All right, I'm going to just give you one last stat that's going to get you off this conversation.
All right.
You said it's a what have you done for me lately league.
I did
you're
not.
Absolutely, or maybe I did.
You did.
Okay, well, I'm right. It is. If you don't have Belichick at number 1, then you agree.
Okay. I don't think it's a what have you done for me. what have you done for me without Tom is what I'm saying.
Well, Pittsburgh, 9 wins last year.
Yep.
Previous year, 9. 12 in 2020. But before that, 8 and 9. So 4 out of the last 5 years, he's maxed out at 9 wins. And I think one of those years, that 8 and 8 year, I think he did a hell of a job to get to 8. But the bottom line is, I mean, you can't put him at one of the best or the top or the whatever in the league when the guy hasn't even got the double-digit wins more than once in the last 5 years. And the furthest they've gone is 2 playoff games, and they're 0-2 in that 5-year stretch in the playoff game.
So the year you're talking about with 8 wins was the year that Roethlisberger went down after 2 games, and then they had to start a whole Mason Rudolph.
Is that when Duck Hodges got in there? Was that year?
Yes,
Yeah,
Doug Hodges started 6 games, and you're like, oh, Tomlin can't coach. He won 8 games with a guy named Doug Hodges under center.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job that year. But
Magician.
Pete Carroll is ranked ahead of him.
I think Pete's a great coach. Not so great on the Jets, but a great coach. That's fine. I don't put him ahead of Tomlin.
Bottom line is they haven't won a Super Bowl since 2008. They went to the Super Bowl in 2010. That's a decade ago.
You're right.
More than a decade ago. We're getting to a decade and a half. And I'm a big Tomlin fan.
Guys.
Breaking news.
Okay.
What do we got?
I Googled Duck Hodges because I was pretty positive his girlfriend was like way out of his league and confirmed he dates Lainey Wilson.
Really?
Can you believe that?
Wow.
Duck Hodges?
Yellowstone star.
All you got to do is have a jersey. You don't even need time on the field.
Bro. Come on,
Hey,
somebody.
look, go get him Duck Hodges, man.
Dang it. All right. That's
There
it.
you go. What do you got? Give us another tweet. before we have
I'm
to
still
get to
getting
a
over
break.
Duck Hodges for 6 games. Let's go over to San Francisco as long as we're speaking about quarterbacks. 49ers are giving Trey Lance all of the first-team reps at OTAs this week over Sam Darnold. This is causing a lot of consternation amongst Niners faithful. Guys, does this surprise anybody? First of all, it's OTAs. Second of all, you traded 3 firsts for this guy. You got to get him on the field at some point.
No, it doesn't surprise me, and I think this is part of the new formula for the San Francisco 49ers. They use one quarterback for a third of the year. They're going to go to quarterback number 2, Sam Darnold, for the next third of the year, and then the last third of the year, they're going to try to find a quarterback with this new rule that allows 3 quarterbacks.
Do you guys think I'm crazy for thinking Sam Darnold may actually have like a good year with the Niners if he gets on the field? This is an offense tailor-made for him. It's got the best supporting cast he's ever had since high school, essentially. He's got coaches who can coach. He's in a favorable division. It's entirely possible Sam Darnold could be the new Geno Smith this year.
Yeah, I know. Geno Smith's become the new poster child, Kasey. It's like, okay, do what Geno did.
Yeah, I was just 1 year early on the Sam Darnold, I guess. I thought he was going to be goated when he went to Carolina.
Hey, he had a couple of good games.
Keep your jersey.
I still got my jersey. It's all good. You got to give Trey Lance the reps, right? You just got to. There's no other way you can do it.
But what happens, Case, if in preseason you find out that Trey is still playing like he's in his rookie year, which he essentially would be.
Sure.
And Sam Darnold's out there tossing it. He's slinging it.
You have a tough decision to make, but you don't make that decision in May.
I guess my question, Brent and Kasey, is does the need to find out what you got in Trey / the need to show him off to other teams / the need to justify trading all those first-rounders outweigh the need to win until Brock Purdy comes back?
Yes.
Wow.
It does at the moment.
They can goof around and win. That division sucks.
Well, listen, they did it. Hey, they did it last year. They started Lance until they went to Garoppolo.
But that was injury, wasn't it?
I get it, but they were going to go to Garoppolo once they got to 0-4 anyway or something. They had too good of a team.
Yeah, they weren't even going to carry Garoppolo. I guess, that window is open, regardless of where you got
lucky.
the quarterback.
You guys give them all the credit, but yeah. So, listen, I think this. If you take all the has-been quarterbacks.
Oh, boy.
I mean, that's not a very nice way to say it, but that's kind of the way it is. Like Sam Darnold, right?
Oh.
Baker
Mayfield. Or never was.
Any of them, name them.
Everybody that was drafted in that class.
Yeah, anybody that hasn't made it and has now gone on the backup role, like Carson Wentz. I'll give you. If you put him on
7-Eleven Employee of the Month, Josh Rosen.
That should be like the tryout for a month. Like, go to San Francisco. If you can't do it here, you shouldn't be in the league.
Fair. Okay.
Because Shanahan's supposed to be a genius. You got McCaffrey and Debo and Ayuk, and you got a great defense. I mean, you got everything there. If you can't do it here, you can't do it.
Nice weather as well.
And so Sam Darnold, he might get that opportunity. But the bottom line is you can't walk out of 2023 and not know what Trey Lance is.
Yeah.
We are 2 years in, and we have no idea about the guy.
It almost feels like you can't get to the beginning of the season and not really know what you're in for, which is what I feel their situation is.
They are. I think they're going to at least. Hey, listen, you don't really know until you get through like September.
That's fair.
Anyway.
But the report on Trey Lance is that he had to work on his mechanics in the offseason. And, granted, you haven't played in 3 years, so sure. Yeah, you got to remember how to play.
Blake Bortles worked on his mechanics for years and helped the Jags to an AFC championship.
Yeah, so you hope it goes well for him with all the changes they've made. But you got Sam Darnold looking like a pro, Brock Purdy, and the great hope. I don't understand where Trey fits in this year other than them forcing him.
Well, they have to force him. It's time to force him because you said all the things. They made the investment.
Yeah.
They've got to figure it out. And it didn't seem like anybody wanted to trade for him in the last few months.
Nah, they got to show he can play.
Not yet, at least. 5 o'clock hour, we've got a Christian Kirk conversation coming up, and then we hand off to the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, but we're not done yet in the 4 o'clock hour. We're coming back live from Stream Song Resort. Brent and Friends on ESPN 690 on a Wednesday.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
It's fishing time, old school style. The Dailies Old School Kingfish Shootout, presented by Yellowfin, is June 10th in St. Augustine. Fishing fun for everyone. Big boats, small boats, and just a $250 entry fee if you register early by May 31st. The catch for the Old School Kingfish Shootout, limited boundaries. Fernandina Beach to Daytona Beach, but only 3 miles offshore. OldSchoolKingfish.com to register and do it early by May 31st. Get your chance to win over $200,000 in prizes. Fishing fun for everyone, June 10th in St. Augustine. OldSchoolKingfish.com.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can get 50% off a Connecticut K5 drinking water system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course the family home. Why put your money with some big out-of-state bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial, we're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at one-to-one-fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, this is Earl Ron. New South makes windows that are both energy efficient and hurricane resistant. New South is the factory and eliminates the middleman. New South windows are made in Florida for Florida homes by Florida workers because we know Florida weather.
Going on now, save 35% off factory direct windows and doors. Call 1-800-NEW-WINDOWS.
Progressive protects more than just your home and car. You could save when you bundle your motorcycles, ATVs, boats, and RVs. Doesn't that sound good? Like the sound of the wind in the trees as your RV sits parked in the forest. Is that the call of the majestic owl? And there's the sound of a tree branch crashing into the roof of your RV. Oof, I guess their nest was in that branch. But you know what does sound good? You're covered with Progressive. So bundle all your vehicles and home in one place and save with the multi-policy discount. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers.
Hello there. My name is Seychelle, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is the punch of flavors that's unlike any other. You get the crispy tenderness of the chicken and that hint of sourness from the pickles. Ta-da!
Hey, I'm Juan, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is you know you're gonna get chicken that's crispy, golden, and juicy. This is the gold standard of chicken sandwiches.
Order the original Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real customers paid for their testimonials.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save. Right now, buy a select Metabo HPT cordless nailer and get a 36-volt 2.5 amp-hour battery free, a $139.99 value. And as a Lowe's MVP, buy select Owens Corning shingles and earn 2 times the bonus points per dollar. Lowe's knows pros. Valid 5/11 through 7/12. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. U.S. only. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid through 6/1. Subject to change.
Tide Power Pods have 85% more Tide.
Who needs that much more Tide?
Well, when giving your muddy dog a bath turns into you getting a mud shower. Yikes, you're gonna need more Tide. When your wine tasting becomes a wine spilling. Yeah, you're gonna need more Tide. Or if your favorite shirt is your kid's favorite napkin. Great, I'm gonna need more Tide. My mom gave me that shirt.
It's a mess out there. Tide Power Pods have 85% more Tide versus Tide Pods.
O'Reilly. Did you know 1 in 4 car batteries is weak and needs to be replaced? O'Reilly Auto Parts will test your battery for free. If your battery needs to be replaced, our professional parts people can help you find the right Super Start battery for your vehicle and budget. Don't wait. Get your battery tested for free today at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. You can watch us on CBS 47 and Fox 30. You can listen right here on ESPN 690. And you can subscribe to our YouTube and podcast, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe.
One, the team's up and coming. Winning the AFC South last year, obviously incredible comeback in the playoff game as well. It's been a long time since I've been in the playoffs. My first 2 years in the league, and we had a chance to get back there. Everyone dreams of kicking game-winning field goals, which is great, but it's also even better to be in the playoffs doing those things. And so I thrive on those scenarios. And so I wanted to come to a team. Obviously, I watched Doug win the Super Bowl with the Eagles, and so great tradition he's got, building here, and a great organization, a great place to live, for me and my family. And like I said, I was trying to bring my leadership and my tenure here to put us over the edge.
That is Brendan McManus, new Jaguars kicker. A couple things to note there. It's been 7 years or now 8 years since the Denver Broncos have been in the playoffs.
No sympathy.
That's crazy.
No sympathy. Jets are working on like 75 years now.
Was like 7. So his first 2 years, does that go back to Manning?
Oh, it might. Yeah, that was probably the last time they were in the playoffs.
Wow. Like I hadn't felt like the drought was that long. But after Manning, it's like the quarterback carousel. Like John Elway couldn't get it right. So, and then the disappointment of last year where they just can't get the quarterback right.
Yeah, they go Manning, Trevor Siemian, Case Keenum, Joe Flacco, Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, and then Russell Wilson.
The boys.
All in consecutive seasons.
Was there another one in there? Or is that before Peyton?
Those are all after
the guy
Peyton.
that went to Houston.
Well,
Paxton Lynch, I don't think ever played.
Tebow was right before Peyton.
Yeah, I thought I was thinking of one other one with didn't he have like a long neck, not Mike Glennon, tall guy.
Long neck.
I don't know. I'll figure it out. He
You
went
got
to
nothing
Houston.
on
I think
Glennon,
he ended up
my
going
boy.
to Cleveland too. I'll find it. But
Great.
That is amazing that they've been that bad. It's like a graveyard for quarterbacks.
It's funny how some of these teams turn into that. You don't notice it at first because there are all these reputational quarterback graveyards like the Browns, like the Jets, that we're all used to seeing all the time. And then it's like, oh, yeah, the Broncos kind of stink.
Brock Osweiler is who I was thinking of.
Osweiler, yeah.
Sorry, I don't know if you mentioned him.
I didn't. He was never the lead passer for the Broncos.
All right, 2 baseball things quick before we get to football at 5, and we'll hear from Christian Kirk, and
His
then we
neck
head up to the
wasn't
Jacksonville
long.
Jumbo Shrimp. How's it? Osweiler's neck wasn't long?
I don't think so. It was no Mike
I
Glennon
will go get
Davis
the.
Mills
I'm
situation.
going to go get the official measurement. I'll be right back.
Please do.
Thank you. Ronald Acuna Jr., is he the MVP so far, Kasey?
Sure. Probably. I mean,
he's been really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's May. He's had a good start, but we'll see if he can carry it the whole way. He's been hurt a lot, so you have to get through a full season to get to that point, but he's probably the leader in the clubhouse.
What's cool here is, though, he's arguably, we used to do this with Javi Baez. Baez had a weird year, by the way, in Detroit, but I used to say he's the most electric player, most entertaining player maybe in the game, but Acuna was certainly in that conversation, and he might have been even more entertaining than Baez, depending on who you like. But this could be really good for baseball. You get one of the most entertaining players in the game, and he's producing like this. Like really good stuff. I mean, and he's producing like crazy between stolen bases. The stolen base is back in baseball, and Acuna Jr. is that much more entertaining.
True.
Because of it.
I give you that.
So, I was actually just talking about Kasey stolen bases with his Rays. They got 6 guys with more than 6 stolen bases on this team.
They do.
Well, what else is kind of fun for once is like
they ain't got a reliever, but they got that.
You got a guy in that steals bases, that produces runs, that scores runs, that gets hits. But he also now, when you talk about MVP or having a good season, like his average is actually above 300. Like that's a thing now in Major League Baseball again. Like I think my favorite rule might be the shift going away because we actually see base hits.
Now you got some hits going. It really hasn't been that way. You talk about guys who are hitting homers who are over 300 since, like, the end of the steroid era. Was it like back in the Biggio Bagwell days?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, but really in the last 5 years, it went way down. It was like 2 guys hitting over 300.
Yeah, now you hit 280, and it's like, oh, all right.
The other thing is the Oakland A's are really pathetic.
Garbage.
Like
it's embarrassing.
Now they've won 2 in a row against the Braves, but I mean they are so pathetic. Like they're on pace to break the worst record by far.
Yeah.
By like double-digit games.
Can you blame them for not being motivated to play?
I mean, this lacks integrity. what the A's have done.
Well, it's not like they're tanking on purpose. There's no point in baseball.
No, they are tanking on purpose, and they're tanking so much they're moving to Las Vegas.
But that's already a done deal. Like, why bother being so terrible this year other than they don't want to be there?
Well, so when they arrive in Vegas, then they'll be good, maybe.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well,
that's a
it
Kasey
could.
reason.
By the time they build the stadium and everything. All right, 5 o'clock hour coming up. Football at 5, Christian Kirk conversation. Then we hand off to some more baseball talk, including a doubleheader tonight on ESPN with the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. And, of course, we'll be back out here at Stream Song Resort tomorrow and Friday as well. Football at 5 next, ESPN 690.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
Are you a real estate investor or have considered investing and want to know where you can put your money that offers solid returns and protects against market volatility? It's Rich Jones. I want to introduce you to DLP Capital, CEO and founder Don Wenner.
For more than a decade, DLP Capital has delighted our investors with consistent double-digit returns. Through the smart, conservative real estate investment strategy our company is built on, we have been able to achieve this with monthly distributions and tax shelters so our investors can keep more of their returns.
Dial ** invest on your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
This time of year brings constant rain and those pesky storm-chasing roofers knocking on your door with scripted sales pitches. Jacksonville Wilson Roofing Company didn't become the first name in Jacksonville roofing with invasive sales tactics. Instead, they offer a low-pressure approach, free and transparent estimates, exceptional craftsmanship, and they get every job right the first time. That's why Jacksonville Wilson Roofing Company is the first name in Jacksonville roofing. Request a free estimate at JackSeaWilsonRoofing.com. That's JackSeaWilsonRoofing.com.
It's fishing time, old school style. The Daly's Old School Kingfish Shootout, presented by Yellowfin, is June 10th in St. Augustine. Fishing fun for everyone. Big boats, small boats, and just a $250 entry fee.